They stepped back in the ring for Voyager Digital assets after it's going through a Chapter 11 bankruptcy. There was a few different companies trying to bid on these assets, including FTX US, which originally won the rights to purchase all the assets on the exchange and then basically got all the customers from the exchange as well. And then FTX US blew up. They're now going through their own Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and Binance US has stepped in. Binance US is a subsidiary of Binance, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange. Why would Binance US want this? Well, we'll actually throw this one up to Wendy to get her take on it. From my understanding, basically they want the customers, right? You buy the platform, you buy all the assets to the platform, the technology, and you're going to hand back all the assets to the customers since Chapter 11, but you also have the rights to their information. So that's what it seems to be, a customer acquisition play. But I'll throw it up to you, Wendy, to get your take on this story.
So I personally think that this is a great PR move for Binance US, especially with all of the insanity that's been happening with them, potentially being insolvent. That's a rumor. I'm not saying that they are insolvent, so please don't take my word on it. However, you should always custody your own crypto. Don't leave stuff on crypto exchanges. I think it's a really good PR move for them. Yes, customers will be able to get some back of what they left on the exchange. I've got money there, so yay, fantastic, great. But I think it is a really good PR move that Binance US is going to step in and kind of absorb Voyager. It's also kind of a slap in the face to Sam and to FTX, because FTX was going to kind of swoop in and bail them out or, save the day. And I think that FTX wanted to do that with a lot of the other companies that went down due to the crypto contagion. So it just seems that CZ is kind of taking Sam's lead there, stepping in and doing the right thing, whether that's right or wrong, and kind of saving the day. So it's a good PR move in my personal opinion.
I have PTSD and deja vu all at the same time. So I remember when we were talking about FTX buying Voyager, and I said, yeah, what a great move. I think I did the quick napkin math at the cost per acquisition. I think it was about $400 per customer. And we were like, what a great way to acquire all of these customers. 1.7 million customers need a place to go. They need to be made whole. What a great time. Then FTX imploded, and now Binance US has come in to save the day. Again, I'm not fudding or anything, but as I was reading the story, I remembered the story from last week that said that auditing firm that provided the proof of reserves for Binance has now taken those proof of reserves off of their website. They're not working with any more crypto clients. I just wonder what's going on there, and I don't know what to make of anything. And so if I'm feeling this way, I can only imagine how Voyager customers, how FTX customers are feeling right now as they get all of this news and don't know how to make sense of it. Wendy?
Really quickly I believe the company was Mazars that was doing the crypto audit. And I posted about this, and I also talked about it on my show. Crypto audits are still technically new. And the way that they look at these compared to traditional audits is a lot different, because crypto assets are very volatile. So it makes it the process a little bit more complicated. There's going to be a lot of growing pains when it comes to Miracle Tree, proof of reserves, and crypto audits. And I think it's going to take years to really solidify a correct method that everybody feels comfortable with moving forward. So I just wanted to chime in about the auditing and how that's going to look like in the future. Zach, what's your take on this story, though?
I mean, that's a great point about the auditing. I was at an event last week talking to an accounting firm guy who, heads up their Web3 practice. And he was saying that there's just a ton of reputational risk out here for people who sort of are on the cutting edge of figuring out what these audits look like, right? It's just a tangle of all these tricky questions and how you represent this stuff. And is it really worth the blowback? Should you get it wrong? And so a lot of these auditing firms are indeed scared away when it comes to auditing exchanges and even other firms within the space. So I think that is a really good point to bring up. I guess I have a lot of questions about this story, and I don't really understand, how are they buying all these assets? Does it go through the bankruptcy process? Do they just have a higher time preference in terms of taking on some of these claims, and then they're going to disperse the funds later? Is there a way that they're getting these on board more quickly? I really don't know enough about the workings of bankruptcy law to understand exactly how they're going to acquire all these crypto assets at the fair market value. And I would imagine that that's going to take a really long time. So maybe it's a PR coup in the short term that is meant to sort of, strengthen Binance US's image in the present market. But I'd imagine this would take a long time to get $1 billion of crypto assets out of this bankrupt company and into some version of customers' hands. So I really have a lot of questions about where that money is coming from, how long it's going to take for it to happen, and whether or not it's going to be meaningful in the medium term. But that's just me. I'll toss it to Will.
Yeah, I'll throw some more questions on there. And, I wish our head of law here on the Hash, Jen, would actually help us out a little bit with this bankruptcy proceeding, because it's a bit confusing, Jen, and we really need your expertise here. But there's a few more questions in there, right? Like they said, they might pay in kind, they might pay in dollars. How does that matter? Does that matter? Which one will people prefer? Does it have more flexibility there cost more to Binance US? And then the customer acquisition, like how much is a customer worth at this point in crypto, going into crypto winter? Are they really worth the amount that they're paying for it? I mean, this was bid on during the summer. I think the bid was a little higher from FTX US, and this bid is a little bit lower from Binance US. And certainly the bid over the summer is probably worth a little bit more. Like we hadn't gone through a lot of the contagion that we saw in November. But I have to think that a customer is not worth that much in terms of acquisitions at the moment, just because we're looking at a prolonged bear cycle. That's what a lot of people are thinking. So purchasing that customer information might not do a whole lot for you at this moment. And then the PR thing, I think a lot of people are scared of that at the moment, right? Because FTX did that this summer, and it turns out that they had an emperor with no clothes, right? We just had to wait a few months, and before you knew it, FTX was gone. Why is Binance running back the same playbook? I'm sure they have some answers for that. Maybe we need to send an investigative squad out to California, get some answers from Binance US. That would be good to get. Zach, I'll throw it up to you.
Yeah, it looks like some of the answers are going to be provided on January 5th, should anyone want to get out there. This is all contingent on the bankruptcy court approving this deal. So January 5th at that hearing, I think we'll get a little bit more clarity as to whether or not this gets consummated. But yeah, I think there's a lot of questions surrounding this one, and hopefully we get to the bottom of it come next week or 2 weeks from now. So anyway, Jen, tossing to our legal expert. Any last thoughts on this one before we break?
Well, I must say, I saw my legal associate, Wendy, put her hand up, and she is out there in California. So maybe we can get her, on the scene, because she can't go to the Bahamas.
On the trail.
So maybe she could get us the inside scoop there. I'm going to pass it up to you, Wendy.
I just want all of this to come to an end. I really, really do. And probably my biggest question is because we're dealing with a crypto bankruptcy instead of a traditional Chapter 11 bankruptcy, things are going to be different. Like I have friends that work in Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They do collections. They do legal, all different types of stuff. So nobody knows what's going on. Like I've had my friend go and ask his people, and he's like, we have no idea how this would even work because of the assets are so volatile. So this is actually good that this is coming to an end. Hopefully Binance US pulls through. Hopefully, Binance remains solvent and we start to get some answers and also some direction on what's going to happen legal-wise when we're going into the next bull run, and how these types of things can be prevented, hopefully.